Mitch, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm, I guess, happy to be talking to you.
You have no idea how happy I am to see you, man. Things have been just absolutely nuts around here. Technical difficulties, phone lines are down, body parts in the hallway. It's just nuts around here.
Yeah, and since you've been working on technical things, I don't know if you saw, we'll get into college baseball in a minute, but huge news. Did you see Brendan Sorsby at Texas Tech is taking a immediate indefinite leave of absence to enter a treatment program for gambling addiction?
Wait, what? When did it? How long ago?
I mean, literally, just as I was waiting to talk to you, this broke, and I mean, our Slack's going crazy with it. Evidently, discovery that he's made thousands of bets on a gambling app. So, yeah, obviously, it's a serious situation for him. If it's
that dude is a Red Raider for life.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's you don't know how long this is going to be. What the situation is. We haven't dealt with Art Schleister. You remember him, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like for people our age, that was like the most notable public gambling, prominent athlete with a gambling addiction. I guess my point is like when someone has a substance abuse problem, every timetable's different. You can't speak to anything specifically, but okay, if this happens in the spring and they get their act together, they'll be good to go in the fall. I don't know what the deal with the gambling addiction is. My guess is he'll play in the fall. He'll be fine, not fine, but it's clearly a unique situation, especially in this era of NIL, where they paid him a lot of money to play for them and putting a lot of eggs in that one basket, and he has a lot more money at his disposal, which I'm sure contributed to his issues. So there's a lot of layers to this story.
How can he play in the fall? All the players that have been found guilty of gambling have been suspended basically for their careers, kind of. I mean...
Okay, you bring something up interesting. I was just thinking about, like, him being back, not done with treatment. Well, did they change it depends on what he bet on, right? I thought they changed the
I think you're
rules.
right, but yeah, okay,
well,
go ahead.
They changed it, but then they rescinded it. I can figure this out at break because we wrote about it. For a while, they were going to let. I don't think they ever passed it. They were going to let college athletes bet on pro sports, but I think it never passed because
they rescinded it quickly because they said they needed to review it more.
Yeah. So okay, if you're situated, then we'll know more. I'll try and hop on at break our Slack messages and see what people are saying that cover the sport. Cover this more thoroughly, but. Yeah, it's a big deal. I
wow.
mean, this is a huge, not to get all, off, well, it's on topic, but, I've got a 21-year-old son, and I was at his house, college with a bunch of kids, and they were watching the NBA game, and just the way I knew they were live betting, and they were yelling, screaming at the TV, and I don't tell them, I'm a pretty easygoing parent, I don't tell my kids a lot what to do, but I told my son, I said, while we're paying for college and you're under our roof, you will not have a gambling app on your phone. It's a big issue. I think it's a bigger issue with young men than most people realize.
I think that's fair. Hey, okay, we're going to talk college baseball roundup, love it to death. But since we're still kind of not, NFL draft takeaway, SEC had 87 most ever NFL draft modern record or any era, right? And then 20 straight years SEC leads all conferences. But the most first round picks were the Big Ten. I feel like those things are completely reflective of college football today, where the Big Ten has the most elite teams and the SEC is just deeper and better. SEC had every team in the conference have at least one player go to the draft, one player selected from them.
Yep.
But it's more important to have the national champion than it is to say, we have more better teams.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said it perfectly. That stat mirrors what we've seen in college football the last 2 years, maybe three.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Three.
Yeah, SEC's better. Big Ten's better at the top. And that's, I mean, we can say it 10 different ways, but that's almost undeniable that's been the case in recent, last few years.
And it just, do you, and over the years, I've had the conversation. What's more important, though, to have the national champion or to be 14 deep?
It depends on what floats your boat. I prefer league depth, and I'm not just saying this because we're both, we're both in SEC towns and all that stuff. If it happens it's getting 3 straight years, it's hard to deny the Big Ten's accomplishment. If it happens 5, 6 years, then okay, I might rethink that. But I think just having the depth of the conference is better. It's better for the league. It's better for everyone in the league. But there's people that in Big Ten country that are doing radio shows and saying that doesn't matter. All that matters is winning the national championship. It's kind of it's what not interests you. What you care about the most.
Which one gets you paid?
As a league, you mean, or?
Yeah, because that's the most important thing.
I guess it's depth, right? I mean, more bowl teams, more higher bowls. I would think so, right?
I don't know. Like
more playoff spots.
It's okay for football. If football is the only sport that really matters, because that's what I hear all the time, then it's whichever one gets you the more college football playoff spots, right? Because the postseason games get you paid the most.
Yes, in advancing, obviously so it's a big deal. It's not even if you don't win a national championship, it's a big deal to win a playoff game or two for your league. Obviously in the college basketball, team conferences make a lot of money in the NCAA tournament, and those are called units, and you get a unit for every game you win there too. So it's not just the amount of teams you have in. It's obviously when you get 3 of the final 8, you're making a lot of money.
Yeah, I saw the draft numbers and I went, yeah, that we see that every Saturday. Hey, quick timeout, come back. College baseball roundup time.
Sounds good.
Awesome, brother. Mitch Light of the Athletic on the D4 Land Services hotline. Sure, it took a second, but in the end, better late than ever. If you need to get your land fixed up, land cleared, land excavated, check out d4landservices.com, d4landservices.com.
Pumping sunshine or drinking haterade. It's never boring.
Are you ready?
The Louie Bellina Show. 11 to 2 on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show Monday edition, presented by CC Electric, Residential, Commercial, Industrial Services. It's what they do at CC Electric. Joined again, Mitch Light of The Athletic, joined us on the D4 Land Services hotline. Mitch, Aggie baseball loses the Friday night game on the road, top 20 team. Aggie baseball, one of their key cogs for their offense. Caden Sorrell gets 1 total hit on the weekend, and they still take the series. Is Aggie baseball the greatest team in all of D1 right now?
Ever, I think. Wouldn't you say?
Well, I've already put that out as a soundbite promo from you.
Okay.
Quote unquote, Mitch Light, college baseball expert for The Athletic. Aggie baseball, greatest team ever. So we have that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, glad to help. Playing extremely well, obviously. Going into Florida and just showing, bouncing back. Friday night, Aiden King was phenomenal. And I saw some of the Saturday game. I was working the draft, but I had it on my laptop. And just, that's a good Florida pitching staff, as you know. And to score the runs they score against that team, and their pitching has been good. There's a lot to like about this Texas A&M team right now, playing with a confidence, playing with swagger. And, I saw Texas in person on Saturday night and Sunday. That's a really, really, really good pitching staff. And I know it was only 2 games, but for Texas A&M to ambush Texas like they did, not that I needed to know that Texas A&M's offense was good, but my point, obviously, to do this against Texas, to do this against Florida, they're not beating up on some poor pitching staffs. They're doing it against the best the league has to offer.
Yeah, they are. And again, so much went into it. And, in the Saturday and Sunday games, A&M pretty much controlled both games. The 5-1, 8-4. It just fascinates me, too. The Saturday performances by this A&M team, I think they're 5-1 after losses this year. The bounce back ability. Aiden Sims has been phenomenal. He had been Sunday until recently. When this offense rolls, the depth that they have is scary because they're kind of like a 1-9 kind of offense. There's been a couple of games, not often, where you've seen the top three kind of get controlled. That's fine. 5-9 pits up a couple of bombs themselves. They might have the freshman of the year in the league. I'm going on and on because that's the reality of this team. And you know me, I try and keep it kind of real. I don't just ramble to ramble.
Yeah, and a couple things on that. One is like we know how it's such a week-to-week sport, and you can get kind of jump to conclusions if you have one good weekend, but this isn't one good weekend. They're stringing this together. And to your point about Sorrell getting only one hit, there's certain teams that rely heavily on their best players, and that's fine. But if those guys aren't performing, their offense goes into a shell. Like Texas's offense is okay; it's mediocre. They've got some really good hitters at the top. Friday night, Aiden Robbins, transfer from Seton Hall, hit 2 home runs. Texas wins 11-4. The next 2 days, he got 1 hit. They got shut out Saturday and scored 3 runs or 4 runs in extra innings total. So, like, my point being, if Robbins and the catcher Carson Tunney, I forgot his name, the Texas transfer. But if those guys aren't hitting, that Texas offense can be held in check. When you've got a deep lineup like Texas A&M and some other teams in this league, you don't rely on one guy, and that's obviously a much better way to live.
Yes. Well, you have the cushion to do what A&M did this week. And Georgia's like that too. Georgia's so deep that, and the other thing that ends up happening is the second a pitcher breathes, the other team puts up a 3 spot. You survive the top 3, 4 in the order, and you think, okay, now I can breathe. Oh, no. They put up a 2 spot, a crooked number, because it's not one run at a time with these offenses.
Yep. I mean, it's common sense. The more good hitters you have, the harder it is to pitch around guys, and you can't make any mistakes.
Yes, and these offenses aren't trying to score 4 hits for 1 run either. That's the other scary part about them, because A&M's bottom half has enough power in it. Again, that's where the crooked numbers come from, and Georgia too.
Yep, no doubt.
So taking a look at college baseball, the national scene, national level, I notice this was the least, and it makes sense late in the year actually, but this was the least shake-up volatility I've seen. Only 3 teams really moved anything drastically. Nobody in the top 8 went anywhere.
Yeah, the top 8 teams all won a series, so they didn't move, and no one had such a big series that like someone was going to jump someone else. The interesting thing was the middle of the rankings, at least my rankings, teams, 12 through 16 through 15 all went 1-3 in the week. They lost series. Virginia's case, they got swept. But when you're ranked in the teens, the mid to high teens, you're not going to fall out of the rankings this late in the year for going 1-3. And then the teams towards the bottom all did pretty well. So what does that? That basically means that no one was going to fall out of the rankings this week. Like last week, I told you I tried to bump some teams out, but there was no one to move in. This week, it was kind of the opposite. Like none of the teams did anything to play their way out. The biggest tumble was Virginia going from 13 to 25 after losing at Pitt, getting swept. And Virginia had been teetering a little bit. They'd been inconsistent, and I probably had them ranked a little too high, so that's one of the reasons I moved them down. But to your bigger point, the best teams all took care of business.
Well, the big mover of the week was Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Kansas moves up, 6 spots to number 11. And they also ran your roundup notes. And I thought it was fascinating. I mean, A, they've only been to the NCAA tournament 6 times. And B, they've never hosted before.
They've never hosted, and they have a smallest stadium. Like because I saw I think the midweek game against Nebraska last Tuesday, they set a attendance record of like 2,400. But like their fans are fired up about Kansas baseball. They'll put in some temporary seating for the postseason. Their RPI is 12. They're on a roll. They're like 17-3 in the league. They are legit. They score a lot of runs. But here's one interesting thing about the discourse about the NCAA tournament. It's the same thing in basketball too. Is we look at these numbers in the outside ends, like what's your quad 1 wins, RPI, and all that stuff's really important. But it's not all created equally because here's my point. I was writing about Kansas at about 3:00. I wrote the sentence: their RPI is 12, and they were 6-3 or something in quad one wins. It was like, that's only 6 quad one wins. That's fine, but it's not great. And then I hit refresh 2 hours later, and they're 9-3 in quad one wins. So like obviously one of the teams that they played moved up to 25 and all that. So point being is like the committee, they parse things a little closer than just looking at the numbers like that. But bigger point is they do have a good resume. They're in 2 games up in the Big 12. They win that league. As long as they don't fall apart down the stretch, I'd be shocked if they don't host.
Wow. That's kind of cool. Have you ever been to Lawrence, Kansas?
I have not. I've always kind of wanted to go. I've heard it's fun. It's not, Manhattan's kind of remote. But Lawrence is not far from Kansas City. I've been to Kansas City many times. Never been to Lawrence.
It is remote. It is.
Oh, it is.
Okay. It is remote. Not kind of. It is remote. It's kind of quaint. I never minded going there, but don't get me wrong. It wouldn't be the first place I went to.
Is it like Auburn? Would you?
No. Well, Auburn was weird. Like on all the times I went to Auburn, I only got to stay in Auburn once. Auburn was always stay like way outside the outskirts
Columbus.
of it.
Yeah. A lot of times you stay in Columbus, Georgia, as the football team does. But okay, yeah, I like Auburn, but it's remote,
Yeah, it was weird. Only once did we stay in Auburn. I felt like Auburn was 20 years behind the rest of the SEC as a town.
Okay, you said it, not me.
I mean, what did you think? I'll give you the chance to say it. Step up.
I like Auburn. I think it's a quaint town, and I've probably been out 6-7 times and went about 5 years ago, and I liked it.
I didn't say I hated it. I just thought it was a little behind.
You called it behind the times.
Is that an insult?
No, I think people would take that as an insult.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to insult them. I've had some good times in Auburn. I thought it was perfectly. Yeah, it was okay. I was fine.
Okay, that's fine.
But Lawrence, Kansas was funny because it was just so everything was small and the people there were so nice. I did never mind it. It was lonely out there. It was very remote in the middle of nowhere. And back to the college baseball roundup with Mitch Light of The Athletic. Mitch joins us on the Deep Land Services hotline. Stock down. Virginia. They go 1-3. They plummet 12 spots. They barely stay in the poll. They're number 25.
Yeah, and it's a team that I kind of probably had a little ranked too high earlier in the year. They've had some injuries. A.J. Gracia, their best player, has been hurt. He came back on Sunday and played, so that'll be key going forward. But, I'm looking at they lost the series to Boston College. They lost the series to Florida State. Then they beat Notre Dame and they beat Clemson. But Clemson and Notre Dame are the two, at the bottom of the ACC standings. And then they lose the series to Pitt. So this team isn't in jeopardy of missing the NCAA tournament, but clearly not playing very well. And again, a team that got off to a really good start. New coach Chris Pollard, hired from Duke, brought a lot of transfers with him from Duke. But yeah, they are going. They still have to play Cal in Louisville. Cal's not an NCAA tournament team. Louisville is kind of a bubble team right now at best. So the schedule down the stretch isn't great. But I'd be a little concerned if I were Virginia.
Now, if I understand this right, UCLA is still the number 1, but Sac State had a chance to beat them, take the series?
Yes, and that your same Sacramento State Hornets that won a series at LSU earlier in the year. On Friday, they're up 1 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And a little nubber in between the pitcher, like no man's land, in between pitcher, first base, and second base. Infield hit, and then they throw the ball away. 2-run score. They were up by 1, so 2-run score with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. And then they lost Saturday, but they won on Sunday 9-6. So you're probably thinking, wow, this is a really good mid-major team.
No.
Nope. No, they're under 500 overall, and they had a chance to beat the defending national champs and the number 1 team in the country in the same season. So, gotta love college baseball.
College baseball roundup. I remember when Clemson was good at baseball.
Yes, not this year. They are last place by 2 games in the ACC. They had a pretty good pre-conference schedule, so their RPIs had kind of been hanging around, but they're not going to make the NCAA tournament. First time under Eric Bakich, and they really haven't been good in any facet. I can't sit here and say it's the pitching or it's the hitting. They kind of play sloppy baseball as well. They're not a great defensive team. So, just things kind of fell apart this year.
Yeah. Is there an explainable reason or just it happens?
I don't know enough about like their roster construction to figure out to know why. But they were preseason, I believe preseason top 25. Good things were expected. Packages, they've been, they made a super regional 2 years ago. Been a regional team every year. So no, I really don't know the reason. If it's just overall talent level, just underperforming guys, there's a lot of factors, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, bro. Sorry, two other things were going on at the same time. But
okay.
With Louisville, they'd always been good. Their host, I remember them being here for a super regional and things of that nature. Mitch, thank you. I know we ran a little bit long here, too. Sorry that we couldn't get you on, was what I was trying to say before my brain cramped up. We tried to get you top there. We've had all kinds of technical issues.
No problem.
It is still phenomenal just to get to visit with you, though.
Always enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Be awesome. Mitch Light of the Athletic on the D4 Land Services hotline. And, if you need forestry, mulching, pond construction, metal buildings, visit d4landservices.com. And if you ever need, land cleared, land excavated, land fixed up, visit d4landservices.com. We'll be right back. It is the Louie Bellina Show, lunchtime, and lunchtime is thanks to Rudy's Barbecue.
Ladies and gentlemen, sports, life, and lunch. Oh, nuts. The Louie Bellina Show, weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone.
The Louie Bellina Show on a Monday. The Louie Bellina Show presented by CC Electric. Built on faith, family, and community. That is CC Electric. We're at halftime. Louie Bellina Show, we're hanging out till 1. Now, let's go 2 o'clock today. It's 2 o'clock every Monday. But in our final hour together, the 1 o'clock hour, I got to listen in with John Summerall, the head coach of the University of Florida, the Gators. And on the Louie Bellina Show, we do college football. Sure, maroon and white. I mean, hello, hi, right? But also, we do the SEC. We do college football, the national scene, and we listen into the coaches. That's kind of like during the spring. A lot in the summer, though. I'll tell you that, too. A lot in the summer. Wherever I come across them, because in the morning, as I'm getting ready, I listen. In the afternoons, when I'm the program director of the Zone, and I'm just doing all kinds of stuff, I listen. I love hearing what they have to say. So anyway, we'll have a listen in with John Summerall, the University of Florida head coach. He's been doing a lot of media tours throughout the spring. He wants to rebrand and reposition Gator football. Gator football used to be one of the marquee programs in all of college football. That's not true anymore. They've taken enough damage at this point. I do now, a little more NFL draft. We talked about the A&M part with 10 all-time record, modern draft. Modern draft means 7 rounds. 6 went on Friday, rounds 2 and 3. 7 Aggies went in the first 3 rounds. That's 7 Aggies next year, projected, expected. 7 that you should see playing from this class. And it should make you fire up. But the rest of the NFL draft, the Athletic ranked 1 to 32 every single. How did each team do? Dallas Cowboys, 4. And they're not the only one. I saw this. Cowboys were considered to have one of the top 5 draft classes. And I kept kind of cleaning my glasses and kept trying to find someone to disagree with this because it's not what the Cowboys do. But the Dallas Cowboys had one of the top 5 draft classes. A big chunk of this is the Cowboys selected Caleb Downs at 5, and people are obsessed with that pick. And I mean in love. He was a maybe 5-6 grade, and he was selected at 11 because there were no needs in the top 10 for a safety. So they got a high-value guy at 11, and it fits their need so high. He fits the new defensive coordinator so perfectly. Like, this was a perfect pick in every context. You got a 5'6" player at 11, fits the new defense, and then just he himself. And it's something the Cowboys never do, is make a pick this perfect. I'm not kidding or exaggerating. The Malachi Lawrence selection could have been better, but the Caleb Downs pick is one of those perfect marriages on all levels. The LT Overton, Bama, yeah, former Aggie, pick was highly praised. Highly praised. So anyway, Dallas Cowboys, top 5 is the way to say it. Number 4, top 5. Houston Texans, not so kindly. Their selection of Kalen Rutledge, even though it was a bizarre trade-up, nobody cares. Teams that tend to draft to reinforce their strength, and D-line for the Texans is strength, actually get a lot of credit from the people that do these. You'll never be ripped for reinforcing your strength as opposed to letting it deteriorate, putting it in jeopardy. The Keelan Rutledge selection, I say strength, my apologies. The Caden McDonald pick in the second round, that was a great pick. That early. The Caden McDonald pick was a really great pick. And what's funny is a lot of teams were ready to select Caden McDonald, and no one saw the Texans taking him, so they didn't have to think they had to trade up or be worried. So that was a great pick. The Keelan Rutledge, a lot of K's in there, pick at 1 was a weird trade up, but addressed a need. The problem was they didn't sell out to address O-line in the draft. A first and a fourth. Anyway, the Athletic said it was 23, just so you'll know. It was 23. And the Texans could have done better. Detroit Lions, I think every A&M's favorite 2 or 3 team at 14. People love the Blake Miller pick, their first round pick. The tackle, they love that selection. Pittsburgh Steelers, the host of the NFL draft, the city of Pittsburgh, 17. They made so many good mid picks, but their first round pick, which wasn't who they intended, and did they draft out of panic, didn't hit, and then taking Drew Allar at 3. No one has a problem with them taking a quarterback at 3, but Drew, and if you hang out on the Louie Bellina show, which I say hi, hello, and welcome, you know I am not a Drew Allar fan. Like, your favorite team taking a player that was not one of your favorites is always conflicting. Yes. So Pittsburgh did so good with Dunker and Nowakowski, but that Allar pick? But 17 according to The Athletic. Here's something that stunned me. Who do you think had the number 1 class, the number 1 draft class? This is The Athletic. It's their opinion. You can agree to disagree. They said the Cleveland Browns. And KC Concepcion was part of that, but they said the Cleveland Browns. You know, I had the worst class, absolute worst class, according to Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is me looking at all, but Jordan Reed, Matt Miller, the ESPN experts, they were asked, who is your favorite pick of the entire draft? According to Miller, Caleb Downs, safety Cowboys. According to Reed, Caden McDonald, defensive tackle of the Texans. They asked them, who is the guaranteed future star of this class? According to Reed, Caleb Downs, Dallas Cowboys. Who is your biggest overarching takeaway from the draft? And this was, and before the draft, I kind of said it was going to be the line of scrimmage, right? Well, according to Miller, talent and depth in trenches, which played out during the first 2 days. First 2 days of the first 3 rounds. 9 offensive linemen were drafted in round 1. 9 tight ends came off the board in the first 3 rounds. 13 edge rushers off the board in the first 70 picks. Well, the theme of the draft, obviously, boom, line of scrimmage. They were asked which pick surprised you the most. Okay, Steelers taking Drew Allar according to Reed. This draft, I'm sure you probably heard this. Maybe you didn't. That's why I kind of mentioned it, right? Diego Pavia, quarterback, former quarterback, I guess, Vanderbilt, did not get drafted at all. He is the first Heisman Trophy finalist to go undrafted since Northern Illinois quarterback Jordan Lynch in 2014. I would love to know, and if we had to go at Northern Illinois, is Pavia the first P4 Heisman finalist quarterback ever to go undrafted? He has to be. He has to be the first Heisman Trophy finalist P4 to go undrafted. He has to be the first one. Because again, Northern Illinois, okay. And I have a question on top of that statistic. How much did his Heisman Trophy reaction contribute to that? Because, when he didn't win, he kind of called out the Heisman voters. A lot of people said it was a bad look. Every Heisman voter I know kind of wasn't happy. But they were called out. Of course they weren't. Some people don't mind rebel. If you got talent, it don't matter what you could say. You could say, I hate puppies, and NFL teams will just say, well, we like a rebellious spark. If you're the best quarterback in the class, they won't care about your stance on puppies. So, Pavia's NFL offseason, which didn't seem to show a lot of NFL prep, but a lot of UFC fights and things of that nature. I think maybe it's all of it. Like in the end, did he paint a picture of a guy that was prepping for the NFL? I don't know. In the end, it's probably all of it. Let's be fair. In the end, it's usually not any one thing. He's got an invite. It's weird from the way it's worded. I don't think he signed a contract with the Ravens, but he's got an invite to the Ravens camp this weekend. And NFL teams have these slots for like a developmental quarterback if something happened to their draft picks, and he's trying to earn this. So I don't even think it's a contract. He has an invite to their camp this weekend. That's the best he could pick. What a fall that is. But how much of that fall is purely self-inflicted? Because we've seen some really bad players get drafted, especially at quarterback. Sometimes it's as a favor. The 6th, 7th round picks. And even the undrafted free agent, this guy's got nothing. He's a Heisman Trophy finalist, too. He's too short. We've seen short quarterback. There's more to it, obviously. Did Johnny Manziel scare away all teams from quarterbacks that like to have fun to this extent? I don't know. When we come back, we got to wrap up our lunch hour of the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. The lunch hour of the Louie Bellina Show. I sit inside the Charles Schwab studio Monday on The Zone.
Like The Zone on Facebook.
We have 5 likes.
And get show updates, programming alerts, contest information, and more. Like The Zone on Facebook. Zone 1150.
We are wrapping up our lunch hour here on the Louie Bellina Show. And lunchtime, of course, is thanks to Rudy's Barbecue. Don't forget, you can text me at 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. That is the number 2. Well, I'll see what you got to say inside the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. Text messages about everything, anything. Yeah, you can light up the Texas Mobile and Lube Express inbox. And again, Aggie baseball, incredible weekend. Really was. To lose that Friday night game. And, if you weren't with me in the first hour, they're on the road, top 25 team, lose the Friday night game, and one of your key Cadence Terrell players has one hit on the weekend, and you win the series. That is a testament statement to how good this team really is. The word is great, not good. Aggie softball loses a series, I'd say shockingly. I thought they were going to beat South Carolina, but you had to watch the series. It was gripping. It was cinema. South Carolina scored every run but one via the home run. The scores were 3-1, 2-1, 2-1. So every pitch, every runner, every at-bat was just, tension. The umpires, but especially the review booth umpire, is the worst I've seen maybe ever. There was 5 or 6 reviews, and 3 of them, there was no evidence and they just totally didn't care as a replay booth. It was atrocious. It was wild. When we come back, I don't know, the final hour, let's hang out together.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7. Thanks to our Aggie broadcast sponsors who make it happen. Schulte Roofing, home of the bulletproof roof guarantee. Prosperity Bank, real bankers, not just a bank. And the Angry Elephant, like your bar, love your Aggies. Listen to the games on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.